Okay, so hello everyone. This is Valentina from Mind Your Mind, and today I am interviewing Maria. She's from Unsinkable, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the program today. I'll give you a chance to fully introduce yourself, Maria. So I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Maria Strada. I am the program manager for Unsinkable Youth.
Nice. Yeah, so before we get started, I do want to ask you a fun icebreaker question just to kind of like warm ourselves up for the interview. What is something that made you smile today?
I can definitely say that it is my fur babies. I have two dogs and a cat. One of them is a puppy, and he likes to wake me up by jumping all over the bed and giving me kisses. And I, as much as I can be a little grumpy in the morning, I can't be grumpy at him because he's just so happy to see me. It's like he
Yeah.
hasn't seen me in years, and I feel the love, and that always makes me really happy.
That's so sweet. That's like the best way to wake up and start the day. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience with Unsinkable?
Yeah. So I've been with Unsinkable since 2019 when it, first launched. I was very lucky and privileged to have Silken Lawman, who's the founder of Unsinkable, reach out to me and said, like, hey, I saw your story. I've read your story. I think that you are an incredible human, and brought me into doing the launch for Unsinkable, and had the opportunity to share my lived experience going through the media tour all over, like in Toronto.
Mhm.
And through, sharing my lived experience and um, meeting Silken, I became a community champion. I've always shared my lived experience. I think that that's who I am, and it's my story has made me who I am, and that is a very resilient and funny person. Um, and through sharing my story and being a community champion for Unsinkable, I slowly transitioned into being a staff and working with the youth who are amazing, ages between like 16 to 26, and came into being a full-time program manager for the youth program, and watching it grow and see the different directions of where the youth want the program to go throughout, my journey and my professional growth. I've always wanted to make sure that the youth have their power,
Mhm.
and I bring that to Unsinkable Youth, where the youth get to decide what they want to talk about or what they want to do. And it's a very youth driven program, in making sure that Unsinkable empowers them to be their authentic self. And we provide a safe space for them to come and share their journeys, their struggles, their resilient moments. And I love my job. I love working with youth and experiencing the privilege and honor that is being a part of their story and their journey.
So you mentioned that you're the manager of the Unsinkable Youth Program. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, and then how can youth get involved, those that are interested?
Yeah. We've had such an amazing growth since I've come into this position, and we have two programs that are for youth, and it's for youth by youth. And one of them is Tuesday nights from 7 to 8:30 p.m. EST, and that is a hybrid program. We've partnered with a community agency that also runs a program, and we bring that as an in-person drop-in group, and have the ability to do the virtual as well. So it is a hybrid program where youth can go into the space. We have the community center all to ourselves. We have the ability to plan what they want to do and go from topics of mental health and wellness to paint night.
Mm.
And if youth want to be able to be a part of the program, in our website, there is a form that you can fill out. You can email me, you can text me on my work number, and that is the Tuesday drop-in groups. And then the next group that we have, it is Thursday nights from 8 p.m. to 9:30 EST, and that is a 12-week program. Um, the topics are set, and this cohort of 12 weeks, the youth have, talked about mental health or, eating disorders and addiction and creating a wellness plan and what different coping skills means to them. And that is registration based program. And you would need to, once again, go to the website under the youth programs, fill out the form, and select that you are going to be joining the 12-week program. And then that is a virtual program.
Mm.
So anybody in Canada can access any of the groups. Um, Obviously, if you are local in the GTA, especially Oakville, and you want to do that in-person group, then Tuesdays is a place where you can go. And another part of the youth program is our amazing volunteers. They are the youth facilitators that are able to, you know, be in the group with the youth participants and facilitate the conversations and have that peer support aspect to it. We are always looking for volunteers that want to take on that leadership opportunity. And again, the website has the form that you can fill out that gives you the option to say, hey, I want to volunteer, or hey, I want to join. Um, yeah, it's very exciting. Uh,
Mhm.
and you just get to be you, and there's no requirements for anything. People don't have to be diagnosed with anything. You don't have to disclose your lived experience. If you just want a group that you can be with other youth and know that you're not alone, and we provide that hour and a half of safe space, then yeah, come join us.
That's awesome. And then for the virtual program, is that taking place over Zoom? Um,
Yeah, we use Zoom to be able to host, well, both of the programs, if anybody would like to join. And so as soon as somebody registers for the group and says, like, hey, I want to join virtually, then the email will be sent out with the Zoom link.
Nice. That's awesome. It's nice to hear that like youth across Canada have the ability to also be part of the program and then be part of this like space where they can learn about their well-being, they can learn about storytelling, lived experiences, and as you mentioned, they could want to like share or they could just be. They could
Yeah.
just be there and kind of like create new connections and new friendships and kind of like take it all in. And a big part of Unsinkable is sharing lived experiences and sharing your story. In your opinion, why is it important for individuals to share their personal stories and experiences, in particularly related to mental health?
Yeah. As a kid that really struggled with their mental health and went through a lot of ups and downs and what we call big T's and little T's of trauma. Um, I look back at like what 12-year-old Maria would have needed. And I wish that I had somebody that said, you know what, I struggle with depression, or hey, I'm also being bullied. You're not alone. I never had that opportunity. I never had those type of resources. And now looking at what Unsinkable brings and being able to share your lived experience in such an empowering, authentic, vulnerable way, that would have completely changed my life when I was 12 years old. It would have made me feel like I'm not alone. There's other people struggling with it. And, like I'm not a burden and I'm not a freak and all of those things that I experienced. Even
Mm,
like sharing my lived experience with other young people, I see that, they tear up because they never thought that they could get better because, I share my lived experience in a very vulnerable and raw way. And at the same time, are able to show that resiliency and that recovery is possible. And it is a lot of work, but you don't have to do it alone. And with Unsinkable, you see so many stories from so many different people's and the range of different experiences. You can absolutely find a person within our storyteller program that has gone through what you have gone through. And it provides a safe space to be able to sit with your feelings and say, like you're not alone. And
mm,
um, I wish that I knew that earlier, that I am not crazy. My brain is just sick, and that's okay. And you know, Unsinkable does bring that to life and destigmatizes that it's okay to share your story. You don't have to be ashamed of it. There's no guilt attached to it. It's about taking your power back.
mhm.
And that's the power of sharing your lived experiences and storytelling.
Thank you. That's beautiful. It's beautiful, and how you, yeah, how you just said it's about taking your power back. It's about to kind of like getting in touch with that vulnerability and sitting with your feelings. I can relate to all of that a lot. And um when someone wants to share their personal story, or they want to kind of just like tell someone or become a speaker themselves, how how do you like ensure that they're safe, that they're kind of taking care of their well-being, especially if they're, let's say they're doing it on social media, or they're doing it in a place that maybe a lot of people are new and they've never interacted with them before. How can someone ensure their own safety and well-being when they're sharing their story?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great question and something that we do have to take into account. Not everybody is at a place where they can share your lived experience. And part of our job as, the staff members and uh, representatives of the storytelling community is to make sure to evaluate and have a conversation with the youth that wants to share your lived experience. What makes them feel safe? What doesn't make them feel safe? What are some triggers? What are some things that you don't want to talk about?
Mm,
And to making sure that they have control over what they share. And there is no requirement or expectation on our end that, you have to say this and you have to present this way, because we just want them to feel okay to share those stories. And even when somebody's going through the process of storytelling, we provide that emotional support and we walk with them through the process. You don't have to do it alone. And you can also change your mind. You can withdraw consent at any time, and that is okay. If you say, actually, never mind, I don't feel comfortable sharing my story, no worries. We're here whenever you want to try again. But we definitely want to have an honest and vulnerable conversation before anybody shares their lived experience. Because the last thing we ever want to do is trigger somebody. Um, and that's, not going to be helpful to them. And the safety is always going to be the priority.
mhm. Yeah. And um, you also mentioned the Unsinkable Champions. Am I getting that right? Yes, that's the name. If a youth in the Unsinkable Youth Program wanted to become a champion, what does that process look like in terms of like writing their story or kind of being coached to share their story?
The process is whatever they want.
Mm,
Like,
nice.
uh, and like it goes back to that empowering, and it takes as long as it takes.
Mm,
There isn't going to be a timeline. If you come to me and say, hey, like I really want to share my story, I don't know where to start, like that is okay. Our program manager for the storytelling program will be looped into this conversation to make sure that we all have an understanding as to what this young person needs.
mm,
Not what we need, it's what they need. And through that, then we determine, like, sounds like your skill is in writing and you want to write a poem, and that's something that resonates with you. Amazing. We can do that. If that is having a, video conversation and then somebody in our team, writes it down, we can definitely do that as well. And they also have the option to ask me to be there as an emotional support person.
mm,
Um, and that, it's something that I've done with certain facilitators that have gone to do presentations to different, events. And they've asked me just to be there because that makes them feel safe. And, that's what I'll do. I'll just be there.
mm. Yeah, and from what you were saying too, like sharing your story is not only like a presentation, it could also take form of an art. It could
Mhm.
be a poem, it could be a piece of art, a drawing, a painting, just like whatever represents your story and how much you want to share, which
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
really awesome. And then I have one last question, Maria. Would love to hear like the most like, inspiring moment you've experienced while working with Unsinkable Youth. I know
Um,
it's been a long journey since 2019, and you probably
I
have lots of moments.
definitely lots of moments. A moment that I can definitely pull in being in this role as a program manager and watching the youth grow is having our young facilitators be able to open up and be authentic,
Mm,
and feel safe enough to go and walk into these groups and facilitate and, like learn so many things about themselves. I had a facilitator that said, like I wasn't expecting anything from Unsinkable. I just wanted to volunteer. And now you guys have become a family.
mm,
And it goes beyond the groups. It goes beyond sharing your story within Unsinkable. It is having the privilege to be able to be in somebody's life in whatever aspect they allow you to be. And I honor that tremendously because it is a privilege. It is a privilege that they allow me to be in their lives. And I take that, and it is just very humbling.
mm. That's beautiful. Thank you. So thank you for sharing and sitting today with us, Maria. For everyone listening, you'll be able to find Unsinkable on social media platforms and on their website as well. If you are interested in joining the Unsinkable Youth Program, as Maria mentioned, there's a form and her contact information on the website. So alongside of this interview, there's going to be a text that's going to give you all that information and answer any questions that you have. Maria is the main point of contact for this program, so feel free to reach out to her with any questions, even if you're just interested in learning more and you have a couple more questions after this interview, feel free to reach out. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to learn about you and connect with you. And I can't wait to see where the Unsinkable Youth Program goes. And I'll be rooting for you from here and always.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem, Maria. Have a good day.